Chapter 2291 Stealing Sky Fire 1. In the deep underground laboratory of Shengjing District, the huge space and dim environment are filled with nutrient tanks. The light yellow nutrient solution filled a transparent container that was only 30 centimeters long. A catheter was connected to the top of the container to inject various nutrients into it. The entire underground space is extremely huge, and you can't see the end from behind the glass wall. However, in that dim environment, you can see something slightly wriggling in the nutrient tank. Ho-Tu glanced at it indifferently, then slowly closed her eyes. Meng Yuanjun crossed his arms. Do you find it hard to accept? You don't have to be like this. From a biological point of view, they are not yet human. Ho-Tu took a deep breath, and when she opened her eyes again, everything was calm. Fine. How many are there here? The first batch is about 60,000. We've done experiments and found that embryos will produce ectoplasmic reactions in the 4th month. So we can conclude that when a human embryo is in its 4th month, the rules of this world will allow ether fragments to enter their bodies. Meng Yuanjun chuckled. It's strange to say, but babies in the embryonic stage have a purer spirituality than adults. Inside this huge underground laboratory are human embryos created using biotechnology. After the 2 mutation eras, mutants are everywhere, including many who are good at biotechnology. It is actually not difficult to clone germ cells and then mass-produce embryos. The only difficulty is that they found that if they use technical means to ripen the embryos, it will seriously affect the quality of the embryos and even produce brainless people, that is, empty shells that cannot obtain spiritual essence. It must be done through natural cultivation, and 4 months is the fastest time currently to obtain an embryo with spiritual power. Ho-Tu stroked the glass wall in front of her and said softly, When I went to the foot of the Qinling Mountains, I met an elder of the Dragon Clan. He subtly reminded me that we, the 6th generation of humans, possess advantages that other races currently lack. So when I came back, I started thinking hard. What is it? What is it that only we can do? Later, I began to study history, even the history of some ultra-ancient civilizations that are not recorded in historical texts. The Black Dragon once told me some stories. He said that when the apocalypse came, in order to protect the continuation of their race, a large number of their people voluntarily gave up their lives and became the power to suppress the Druk giant god. So, what is the meaning of life? Ho-Tu laughed dumbly and shook her head. The Creator created humans only as tools for the observer. So we shouldn't take ourselves too seriously. Why can't we use ourselves as tools? Meng Yuanjun glanced at Ho-Tu and said calmly, So, the only advantage of modern humans is that they are not bound by the Creator's rules. They can reproduce without limit and use this bug-like method to obtain ether fragments. Once we master this technique, we can acquire a large amount of spiritual power and become stronger. If it happened in the past, such a thing would definitely be against the harmony of nature. However, in troubled times, it is unclear when the world will face despair and when humanity will perish. Then they will try every possible means to protect their homeland. However, they already possess spirituality. If you absorb their power, it would be equivalent to committing murder. After death, you will go to hell. Meng Yuanjun looked at Huda deeply and said playfully, It doesn't matter. Ho-Tu had no expression on her face. Isn't this world just like hell? I want to become strong and protect everything. No matter what the consequences are, I am willing to accept them. After hearing the news about Zhang Yi, all the regions were naturally overjoyed and extremely excited. This can be said to be the most magnificent victory achieved by Huashu Kingdom after the end of the world, and it can be said to have shocked the world. But Zhang Yi also immediately reminded everyone, I hope this matter remains private to us, and don't rush to spread it outside. Luya Hanshanzhua was a little confused when he heard Zhang Yi say this.
Why?
We should publicize such a sad thing, and let other countries know how powerful we are. Who would dare to mess with us in the future? This is also a warning to other underground civilizations, so they can avoid us. Zhang Yi shook his head and explained to Luya and the others, things are not as simple as you think. If this matter is exposed, it will be equivalent to exposing our strength. The Wulwan Empire is just one of many underground civilizations. And, according to my judgment, their strength is not considered advanced among underground civilizations. The situation is still unclear, so we need to keep a low profile. Otherwise, we are likely to become a sitting duck in the future. Zhang Yi was very thoughtful. After witnessing the strength of the Yihan people's civilization, he deeply realized that there are many beings in this world who are like gods to humans. Currently known ones include the Yihan clan and the Qinling Dragon clan, whose strength is difficult to assess. Even today, Zhang Yi can use various means to kill Zheng Lu with difficulty. However, his awe of the Qinling Dragon clan not only did not decrease, but increased. The scene where Bai Longzi chopped Zheng Lu's dream into pieces with 2 swords is still vivid in my mind. It now seems that Zheng Lu's strength has reached 52,000 points. Then Bai Longzi's strength is at least above 60,000 points. This was just the only member of the Qinling Dragon clan he had seen. In addition, the Dragon clan has no interest in the territory and resources on the land of Huashu Kingdom. This kind of courage and composure is far beyond the reach of the Wulwan Empire. Therefore, it can be seen that the Dragon clan's level of civilization is far higher than that of the Wulwan Empire. How many civilizations like the Yihan and Dragon tribes are there in this world? Nobody knows. During the 4.6 billion years of the planet's existence, a total of 6 generations of humans have been born. The first generation of humans were quickly wiped out, and the 6th generation of humans was born only a million years later. During the billions of years in between, the Druks, the Awans, and the AKS were a general term for a certain type of human race. There isn't just one race. For example, the Dragon clan, the Wulwan clan of the Wulwan Empire, and the Three-Eyed clan of the underground Demon Kingdom in the southwest region all belong to the reptilian Yihuan clan. However, the civilizations in between may have lasted for millions or even tens of millions of years. Even the 6th generation of humans separated into groups such as land people, underwater mermaids, and fish people in just millions of years. Therefore, no one knows how many powerful races exist under the vast Earth, in the deep and difficult-to-explore space. Chapter 2292 Stealing Sky Fire 2. Zhang Yi has always been cautious and low-key. Unless it is a life-or-death situation, he would rather be underestimated than reveal his strength. This expedition to the Wulwan Empire was also because the relationship between the two sides had reached a point where it was a life-and-death struggle, and they had no choice but to fight. However, even if he won, he did not want the top leaders of Huashu Kingdom to be too high-profile. After hearing Zhang Yi's explanation, everyone immediately expressed their understanding. Han Shanzhua sighed. As expected of my brother Chaos, he's always thoughtful. Okay, I'll listen to you. Just tell me what you need, and I promise to do it perfectly. Han Shanzhua has changed the way he addresses Zhang Yi. In the past, people always called him brother, but now they call him brother. This guy is quite perceptive. He knows that Zhang Yi is now beyond his reach, and he can only look up to him. Meng Yuanjun, speaking through the communication channel, chuckled and asked, Han Dun, I have one more question. Now that we've conquered the Wulwan Empire, I'm sure we've reaped quite a bit of spoils, right? As soon as these words were spoken, senior officials from all major regions couldn't help but pay attention. Even the brothers of the Southwest Region Undertaker, who were truly Buddhist, glanced sideways. For this expedition, all the major regions have almost emptied their savings to support Zhang Yi in waging war. Now it's time to divide the cake. We brothers should settle the accounts clearly. We are all looking forward to it. Zhang Yi raised his lip. Don't worry, there are a lot of strategic resources here. I will allocate the resources you deserve according to the proportion of your contributions. Ha ha ha. We feel relieved with your words. Chaos. If something like this happens again in the future, we will definitely support you. Everyone knows Zhang Yi's character too well, and no one is so blind as to ask Zhang Yi how much he has allocated specifically. After all, in this war, Zhang Yi's Tianhai City team contributed at least 95% of the effort. They were the icing on the cake, so according to the proportion of their contribution, the total amount they could get was far less than what Zhang Yi pocketed. But they didn't feel any unfairness. In the face of an absolute gap in strength, they would consider any little bit of strength that a strong person reveals through his fingers as a gift. In the future, they will still have to hold on to Zhang Yi's big, thick legs. The discussion was very harmonious and no bad voices were heard. After the war, Zhang Yi asked the Tianhai City team to come back first and not participate in the cleansing activities. When Fatty Su came back, he was carrying a bulging bag. It was a sturdy travel backpack that was almost as big as he was. Lauda, why are you calling us back so urgently? Let me tell you, this Wolwan Empire is truly advanced. Even the figurines are so high-end, they look just like real people, he said excitedly. Sure enough, wherever there is civilization, there is always the culture of the second dimension. The culture of pacifier pleasure is indeed necessary for all developed civilizations. Zhang Yi looked a little strange when he heard this. The lizard man figurine must also look like a lizard man. When did you develop this interest? He touched his chin and glanced meaningfully at the big backpack behind Fatty Su. And if you collect toys, the size won't suit you, right? Fatty Su argued. I'm just curious and doing some research. As a person, learning without thinking is useless, and thinking without learning is dangerous. Of course, learning is lifelong learning. Fatty Su actually started to quibble with words. Zhang Yi sneered and waved his hand. Whatever you want. The other members of the team also came back one after another. Seeing that they were all safe and sound without any injuries on their bodies, Zhang Yi nodded in satisfaction and showed a sincere smile. Everything is going as planned, and everyone is fine. That's good. When distributing combat power, they will definitely show more preference to those in their own team to ensure that nothing happens to them. Uncle Yu's body was stained with a lot of dark green lizard man blood. He said to Zhang Yi with a lingering feeling, Zhang Yi, I was just in the mood for killing. Why did you suddenly call us back? Is there something important? Zhang Yi sat on the golden throne, crossed his legs and smiled. Not really. It's just that I've already gathered most of the strategic resources of the entire Wolwan Empire. We have to let the aliens from other regions have a taste of the sweetness, so let them handle things like cleaning up the battlefield. After he said this, everyone nodded, indicating that they understood. Lao Zhang, how much stuff did we get this time? Can I take a look? There was a glimmer of curiosity in Deng Shintong's eyes. After experiencing a fierce battle, they were like players who had completed a game, eager to see the rewards. Zhang Yi looked at everyone and saw curiosity and anticipation in everyone's eyes. He smiled and said, Well, I can show you. But his face turned serious, and he said very seriously, You must keep your mouth shut. After you leave here, don't tell anyone. He glanced at Deng Shintong specifically and said, Old Deng, you can't tell anyone, including your uncle. Do you understand? Deng Shintong's eyes widened a little. So, the abundance of spoils is beyond imagination, right? Zhang Yi nodded. That's right. Deng Shintong's breathing quickened. He took 2 steps forward, spread his hands, and said, Lao Zhang, you should know this. I've always treated you as my own flesh and blood, my dearest brother. The corners of Zhang Yi's mouth twitched. All right, we all know each other well, so don't try this on me. Zhang Yi's gaze swept over everyone present. All the people present were members of his team. Deng Shintong is considered a semi-non-staff member, and there is also a newcomer, Blue Bird Li Yangyang. Zhang Yi's gaze lingered on her for a moment. Seeing this, Li Yangyang smiled and said, If it's not convenient for me to be here, I'll step aside for now. No need. Zhang Yi held up the side of his face with one hand and said calmly, Trust the people you employ, and don't employ the people you doubt. You are now a member of our team, so there is no need to hide anything from you. In fact, there is no need to keep this matter secret from Shengjing region. Even if Li Yangyang told the people in Shengjing district, what would happen? Even if Zhang Yi didn't give them anything, the people in Shengjing district could only hold their anger and dare not show it. Of course, Zhang Yi is not a person without principles. He asked Yang Xinxin to unfold the list. A huge projection appeared in the conference room. Although they could not understand the measurement units used by the Wulwan clan above, they could understand the data after conversion. Chapter 2293 Stealing Sky Fire 3 Astronomical Figures. The strategic resources seized from the Wulwan Empire are an astronomical figure. The strategic materials accumulated over billions of years, and many of which were kept for the fight for hegemony after the end of the world, all fell into Zhang Yi's hands. It was placed quietly in his vast and boundless alien space. As Zhang Yi was promoted to the level of Black Bishop, the area of his alien space became increasingly larger. He only needs one corner, and his warehouse manager skills can arrange all kinds of resources piled up like mountains. What would it look like if those resources were piled on the ground? If we count the many untapped energy crystal mines, they can at least form half of the Qinling Mountains. Oh, my Chaos Supreme. Deng Shintong's catchphrase has changed. He rushed to Zhang Yi and hugged Zhang Yi's thigh without caring about his image. Now that you've made a fortune, you have to support me, your old friend. Deng Shintong's eyes lit up, and he didn't care about his image at all. Even a nobleman from Huashu Kingdom, who had been rich and powerful for generations, was as poor as a beggar in front of Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi was held on Deng Shintong's lap, and goosebumps suddenly appeared on his arms. He quickly shook his legs, trying to kick the man away. Hey, old Deng. Can you please keep some dignity? What image do you want? I'll definitely follow you from now on. Your Excellency, I want to become stronger so badly I dream about it. Deng Shintong looked at Zhang Yi eagerly. You are so rich now. Would you consider helping me improve my strength? Deng Shintong revealed his true inner purpose. Erlang manifests himself as the true Lord Deng Shintong. He occupies one of the most popular and prominent codes in the mythological system of Huashu Kingdom, but his strength is very embarrassing. As one of the earliest awakened strongmen, he was a first-class alien in Huashu Kingdom in the early days of the apocalypse, and now he is still an alien at the level of White Chariot. Seeing that his old acquaintance, the fat otaku Su, is about to surpass him, how can he not be anxious? He just tolerates others. But Fatty Su was originally a Gamma-level mutant, and Zhang Yi actually used his resources to build him up. What's wrong with him? Deng Shintong. Zhang Yi looked down at Deng Shintong. You know what? Before they knew it, they had known each other for 3 or 4 years. In the past few years, Deng Shintong has done a lot for him, and the Deng family has always stood on his side. Biotechnology and intelligence systems are completely at the service of Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi thought for a moment and said, Don't worry, we're all brothers. I won't treat you unfairly. If there's a chance next time, I'll definitely give you priority for promotion. Zhang Yi was not just making empty promises to Deng Shintong. But it is indeed not easy to cultivate extraordinary people. Especially after arriving in Epsilon, there are only 2 ways to improve your strength. First, tap your own potential. The second is to kill and plunder the origins of other aliens. Zhang Yi has a way to exploit the bug and cultivate centipedes to continuously obtain the origin. However, the maximum point that the centipedes can be upgraded to is 9,999. Their origin has some effect on the White Chariot level aliens, but after reaching the Black Chariot, the extent of the upgrade becomes smaller and smaller. Centipede, huh? A very strange idea suddenly came to Zhang Yi's mind. He didn't say it for the time being, but asked Deng Shintong to loosen his thighs first. Deng Shintong smiled happily after getting Zhang Yi's promise. No matter what, he has been recognized by Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi continued, Most of the alien coalition forces from the 6 regions are currently conducting cleanup operations in the surrounding urban areas. They know I'm around the palace, so they haven't come near. But this is the core area of the Wulwan Empire. I have collected strategic resources, but there are still some things that are extremely valuable. For example, the technological products here, as well as their cultural heritage, especially the materials recording ancient history. Go and look for them carefully. After receiving Zhang Yi's order, everyone took action immediately. Luke Heron directly input new instructions to a mechanical life form engineering unit under his command, asking them to sweep all buildings in the central urban area. Uncle Yu and Fatty Sue went to work, but Lu Karen, Zhou Qier, and Yang Xinxin stayed behind. Zhang Yi did not let them do such heavy work. Zhang Yi said to the three people, "I suddenly thought of something and wanted to ask for your opinions." The three people looked at Zhang Yi. Lu Karen, still rejoicing over the victory, said with a cheerful expression, "Brother, what other plans do you have?" Zhang Yi waved his hand and smiled. "I don't have any special plans. I just had an idea that suddenly came to me, and I'd like to hear your opinions." He sat on the throne, crossed his hands, and after pondering for a moment, he spoke. "The centipede farm can now produce essence for us in large quantities. It allows all talented people to grow rapidly. But after reaching the Epsilon level, the effectiveness of the centipede essence is greatly weakened." But Zhang Yi looked at them, his eyes dark and deep. He crossed his hands and propped up his chin. The centipede, after all, is a special creature that only gained supernatural powers after mutation. And in this world, there are also creatures that are born with ether fragments. The three girls present were all very smart. From Zhang Yi's words and his strange tone, the three of them gradually guessed what Zhang Yi was talking about. Zhou Qier was the first to speak. "Zhang Yi, is the creature you are talking about a human?" Lu Karen widened her eyes. She had actually vaguely guessed it, but didn't dare to say it out loud. Therefore, he just looked at Zhou Qier and Yang Xinxin in surprise. Yang Xinxin, on the other hand, looked calm and obviously knew what Zhang Yi meant. But isn't this a bit too strange? Lu Karen covered his head and looked at Zhang Yi eagerly. "Brother, you are not planning to use the method of breeding centipedes to breed humans? Once it matures, it will be killed, and its supernatural power will be extracted. This is too cruel." Zhang Yi took a deep breath, shook his head, and said, "No, I haven't thought about it that much. It just suddenly came to me. Kagago's rules have a special blessing for the current generation of humans. Every human being born will receive a fragment of ether from a higher dimensional world. I think this is a programming bug. Xinxin, you're a computer genius. If you look at it from a programming perspective, what do you think of my idea?"